welcome to this Euronews debate organized in partnership with Huawei. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining on the YouTube channel, the Euronews YouTube channel, we know you're watching from around the world, or if you're here with us in the room in Paris, a warm welcome. And I'm excited that you're joining this conversation, a very important conversation about how we drive the digital transformation in Europe to really benefit and empower Europe's emerging innovators. I'm Naomi Lloyd, I'm a Euronews journalist, and I'm delighted to be moderating, which promises to be a very exciting and interesting conversation. Promoting digital innovation has never been more crucial for Europe's economy and its societal resilience. With strong support for emerging technologies and digital literacy, Europe has the chance to forge a future where digital tools can enhance our quality of life, and they can make systems more sustainable, more transparent, and more inclusive. So how do we prioritize innovation? How can Europe ensure it remains competitive globally, attracting investment, boosting economic growth, and fostering solutions to some of its biggest challenges, from climate change to healthcare? Well, helping me to shed some light on this topic is my wonderful panel of guests, who I shall introduce properly now. So, it's a little lower than I expected. So starting right at the end, I think we'll go there first, we have Horst Heitz, and he is the chair of the steering committee for SME Connect, which is an SME business association. Welcome to you. Next along, we have Ana Paula Nicio. She's chief of UNIDO's division for digital transformation and artificial intelligence, UNIDO being the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Warm welcome to you. Next, we have Zhu Xiaoming, who is VP of Global Industry Development for Huawei Cloud. A warm welcome to you. Next along, we have Gaurav Tripathi of Partex MV, which is a German life sciences AI leader. We're going to be hearing more about that shortly. And last but certainly not least, next to me is Alexander Pisemski, and he is CEO of Zemposa, which is a fintech company specializing in alternative data analytics, and that's based in the UK. So a very warm welcome to all of you. So I'd like to get started by asking each of your views on where we're at with digital innovation in Europe, and what are the biggest challenges that you see either face you as a company, for you two, or that you see companies in Europe are facing? So I'm going to throw that to you first, Alexander, as you're next to me.
Thank you, Monica. So we in Zemposa, we leverage AI and data to help institutional investors globally to make smart investment decisions, and working with hedge funds, asset managers in Europe, US, Middle East, Asia. I would like to say that if speaking in what are the main challenges here in Europe, it's definitely the overregulation. So unfortunately, during past maybe 5 or 10 years, compliance became a business-defining function, which creates not only administrative but sometimes even psychological barriers for innovation to be adopted. And having, for instance, regulations like GDPR, which definitely play significant role in protecting the privacy, but the attitude which is used to apply it makes innovations very difficult in such type of in every company. And we see many situations when there is a delays in implementation of new tech, in testing the ideas, etc. So I think that for Europe, it's very important to find a way how to balance regulations and business needs, and innovations are about thinking outside of the box. And it's very difficult when you're always put inside of the box to do something new, to create something that no one did before.
Thank you very much. Yeah, lots there. Overregulation, feeling put inside a box. Okay, so Gaurav, the same question to you, please.
Thanks, Naomi. Thanks for having me here in Paris. So at Partex, we are looking to solve the inefficiencies in the entire drug development process. The aim is to bring out the drugs faster and cheaper in the market. And from that perspective, I'll first talk about the general challenges. What we have seen, one, access to high-quality data, skilled team members, people with the right skill, and third, access to cost-efficient cloud and compute. This is what we have seen, this challenge. Specifically around in healthcare, we see that in the healthcare and overall life sciences, it's facing an acute challenge where, on one hand, we have millions of patients waiting for drugs, for therapies, and at the other end, pharma companies are struggling to contain the cost to bring out the drugs faster. And all of this we see, primarily, it's a data challenge. Pharma needs data, patients have data, but there is nothing to connect them. Yeah.
Thank you, very interesting. Okay, so similar question to you, Xiaoming, your overview of where we're at.
Okay, thank you, Naomi. And good afternoon, dear friends. So from my opinion, the challenge is the progress of digital transformation in Europe is slower than planned, and there is insufficient digital talents in Europe. So let me start with some figures in Europe from the State of Digital Decade 2024 report. So in 2030, EU targets 90% of SME realize digitalization. But now, the percentage is only 64%, even 13% decrease than 2023. The number of unicorns targets to be twice as that of 2022, reach about 500. But now it's less than 6% increase based on the number of 2022. The number of individuals with basic digital skills and ICT specialists only increased 1% and 2% from 2023 to 2024. So based on this situation, the digital transformation of business and the digital skills cannot attain the goals of Europe Digital Decade. So for the past year, I have been meeting with a lot of C-levels, especially staffs. So they tell me their headache, insufficiency in technical employees. They expected, and also high cost on infrastructure and business expansion. So they expected their technical team can focus on their own technology innovation. And they can leverage from their cloud and AI tool to improve their development efficiency. So they hope they can spend more money on R&D, not on infrastructure. So they also want to obtain more resources and scout more business opportunities and globally, and also they want to grow their revenue fast and steadily. So that's mine.
Thank you very much for sharing that and some of the conversations that you're having. I'm sure many people watching are probably nodding there and can relate to some of this. So thank you for sharing that. Anna, same question to you, please.
Well, thank you very much, Naomi. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'll offer a different perspective. At UNIDO, we consider digital a critical enabler for our mandate, which is inclusive and sustainable industrial development, right? So I'm going to cover a little bit of the global and go for the national and a few remarks about examples in Europe. So at the global level, yes, the digital divide is increasing. If left unattended, will become worse and worse. All the trends are pointing to the direction, patents, research. There is a long list of countries being completely left behind, and that includes some of the Eastern European countries. And yes, I agree that Europe is not growing as fast as other developed regions. So there is this understanding, and of course, so we're trying to get, the UN is trying to get refreshed political will. The Global Digital Compact that UNIDO helped ghostwrite has been approved in September in the General Assembly. And now certain agencies will implement. UNIDO will lead the objectives of digital inclusion, for example. So now going back, and then of course UNIDO works a lot in helping governments craft their policies and craft their strategies in industrial policy, but also which includes digital. So we have many examples like Jordan and Armenia, the work that we've been doing. So now let's get to Europe. So UNIDO has some work in Europe, but granted our focus, because we are working about the divide, it's about inclusion, it's about sustainable, our focus is very much into developing countries. So our footprint in Europe is mostly Eastern Europe, and especially countries aspire to get to the EU, like Western Balkans and other countries of Eastern Europe. So we have done a lot of work at meso level, like strengthening institutions, creating innovation ecosystems to help innovative companies to get on their feet, access finance, which is one of the biggest problems, lack of access to finance. And of course, access to skills as well. We do a lot of work in capacity building, and also from government to SMEs, from that struggling SME in Africa to high-level officials. Yeah, and so on and so forth. And of course, we do a lot of work in technology transfer as well, so that we can help countries leapfrog. So yes, so I think that ends my
Thank you. It's great to get that global perspective and hear where Europe's at with the rest of the world. So thank you. We're going to be hearing more as well. Horst, your perspective, you work with a lot of SMEs in Europe.
Yes, I think, first, thank you so much to be here again, and this is a pleasure to share these topics with you. I think this SME speeded up. It is since COVID, it's really a change in the community to talk about this. Perhaps it is not everything good, it is still too slow, but it is a huge change in mindset. And I think we have to discuss also the right questions before we say 50% of SMEs have no website. But this is the wrong question, because not all SMEs needs a website. We have to say which digitalization everybody needs, because SMEs are very diverse. And then I have to say, of course, how you as SME should digitalize if the administration, the public administration, is still analog. And you have to provide everything analog you would like to digitalize. And the other thing, of course, it's a question of generation. We see that Italy, Greece, they are slower. We see other parts of regions are faster. Central Eastern Europe is where much more in front, and also Scandinavia and other countries. Belgium, because cost-driven, digitalization is putting down the costs, so digitalization is a way out. And also the demand of consumers and partners. So if I have to say, if I'm a 60-year-old shop owner and my customers don't want to pay digital, why I should change the business model? So we have to change a little bit the questions and make it not so general. And I think then we have a good way out. So the other things I can agree, it's infrastructure problem, financing problem, skills problems, also to find the right stuff, and of course, bureaucracy. And that's I want to say, this is the mindset of embracing digitalization, because if you read European legislation, it's protection, 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 jobs and grow. I would be already happy it would be only protection, jobs and grow. We are overdoing this with all this regulation, and we discuss this also public. We are always afraid about artificial intelligence, about this and that. It should be a little bit afraid, it should be careful, but see also, please, the chances.
Thank you. Really interesting. Very interesting to hear that sort of real experience on the ground of SMEs, and we should be asking the right questions. So thank you. So we've heard a little bit there, the challenges. We are going to be moving on to what are some of the solutions, what should we be doing. But I'd like, first of all, just to come back to you two, if I may. We have two real-life companies. You were startups in the room. It'd be nice to just hear a bit more about your companies and go with there. So perhaps, Alexander, then, Zemposar is developed an, if I've got this right, an AI-powered analytical platform that helps institutional investors to outperform market using predictive insights from alternative data. It sounds very impressive. I might get you to explain that a little more. But I'm interested to know, what kind of a role does AI play in data mining in the financial sector? Perhaps you can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So we need to understand that the data is the only source of insights, investment insights for investors. So the artificial intelligence, data mining, cloud computing, these are things which are adopted in this sector like in advance like every others. Because those investors who can like develop the infrastructure, develop the process to work with massive volumes of information can win the market, be better than others. And this is very competitive market. So if you don't do this, you're like other funds doing this. So that's why here the investments are significant, and companies like ours, so we help funds to literally leverage billions of data points which we collect daily from different sources. So really combine analytics on diversified data sets, spot trends which like human being will never be able to spot just because of the, this is beyond the capabilities of any human being to like test these strategies, like looking in the past, like 5, 10 years, 20 years, understand how the particular event, corporate event, regulatory event, or, for instance, geopolitical development impacted markets like 20 years ago or 5 years ago, what was the situation. So models, current models, are able to do this analysis and empower investor with very sophisticated and mathematic-based analysis. So to help like analyst or portfolio manager to develop the idea which will highly bring to like some positive output. And if we speak about like how the AI will like be involved in financial sector, so I would tell that those like AI is not a silver bullet. It will not like give you ability to win the market all the time. But if there will be no adoption of modern technologies like based on the data analysis, so the fund will definitely lose the market. So that's it.
Very interesting. I was going to ask you, but I think you answered there. It's not a silver bullet. I was going to say, can people really rely on AI to, I don't know, make a fortune from the equities market?
Yeah. So equity markets, like it's one of the most competitive ones. And definitely, like big funds like BlackRock, Fidelity, they have like great number of smart people with very powerful computers, a lot of data to create their strategies. So that's why, and even they lose, like they make bad investment decisions. So that's why it definitely helps, but it will not make you, it's not a green button like making money.
Okay, good to know, thank you. So Gaurav, a similar question to you really, but your company, Partex MV, is pioneering as the first digital platform that aims to become the largest AI-powered drug assets manager. It's a big aim. Tell us a little bit about that and also what kind of role AI plays in this sector.
Yeah, thanks. So here, when we looked at the problem that is there in life sciences, so there are two approaches. So one that you could aspire for coming up with a novel drug or a novel therapy for a disease. Let's say for a particular type of cancer, that there is no drug right now which cures us. So you try finding novel cures. That is one approach. But when we looked at the industry and the dynamics and where the money is going, right? More than $90 billion R&D from just the top pharma companies is going into just handful of drugs, just about 200 plus drugs. So much of money is going into it. And that is where we realize that the bigger problem, or the problem which, if we solve, the bigger impact will be via bringing efficiency into this whole process. Right? And that is where we looked at any point of a time, there are 18,000 plus drugs which are in the pipeline of our pharma companies. From that, last year, FDA, US FDA approved just 36. So it's not even 0.5% of efficiency. So there is so much money that's probably going nowhere. And that is where we brought AI, saying if we can break down the drug development process into smaller problems. See, nobody can solve a big problem, but if we break it down into small pieces, we can solve each of these small pieces really well. To give an example, there is one problem which is screening of molecules. So typically, this is being done in batches of a few hundred or a few thousand molecules, and every time, and even that used to take days, months, yeah. And nobody aspired for solving it at scale. But what we did recently was 5.8 million molecules. We were able to screen in just 8 hours, right? So it's something which was deemed impossible earlier, and now it's possible because of AI. And just to pick up on the fun problem, so we have a model which is on clinical trial prediction, and on that there is a fund which picked up that model and started trading in listed pharma stocks, and we have already beaten the benchmark for past 2 years. So.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you very much. Xiaoming, let's come to you next. Slightly different question. Huawei Cloud has some special programs, doesn't it, which is designed to assist startups to quickly grow in their niche markets. Could you tell us a bit more about these, how they work, and what they bring to these startups in different sectors?
Okay. So Huawei Cloud Star Program offers values from 3 aspects. So the firstly, innovative cloud platform. Startups can obtain the cutting-edge technologies on Huawei Cloud, AI, big data, cloud database, cloud-native video and audio, etc. So these capabilities enable the startups to develop and deploy their application faster and easier, and enhance the competitiveness of their solution at the same time. And also, when the startup join our startup program to support, they use the cloud in a cost-effective way. So we offer the advice how to optimize infrastructure to better suit their business plan. And we also help the startups to evaluate their technological advantage and cloud spending. We will provide corresponding cloud credits. It will help the startups to lower their cost of IT resources, operation, and maintenance. Secondly, technical support. So in addition to APIs, tools, and documents, Huawei Cloud has a dedicated engineering team to provide cloud training and consultation. So we help the startups do cloud-native corresponding, and also the DevOps optimization and the AI efficiency optimization. This will help the startups to improve their business operation and maintenance efficiency so that they can focus on their own product, solution, and business. Thirdly, go-to-marketing platform and business resources. So every year, Huawei Cloud has hundreds of marketing events all over the world. And tens of thousands of C-levels and industry leaders will attend these events. We will invite high-potential startups to attend these events so that they have opportunities to showcase their product and solution to our global customers and partners. Moreover, the startups also can promote their applications via Huawei Cloud Marketplace, Gallery. And also, if they want to expand their business overseas, we will help them go China and go global.
Yeah. Thank you. And I believe that Alexander and Gaurav, your companies were, when they were startups, they were both part of these programs. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about that, Gaurav, and what benefit it brought to you. Well, obviously, you've expanded.
So I already spoke about the challenge of being competitive, right? And so access to the competitive cloud and compute. And that is where we see that Huawei's platform has definitely helped. And second, as Xiaoming already mentioned about going global, right? So we have been strong in Europe, and now we see that entering Latin America or Asia, that is where we see the partnership with Huawei as being helpful. And we are now looking to launch more of our offering via Huawei Cloud, reaching to more customers globally.
Great, thank you, Alexander.
Yeah, so we, as a data company, we leverage really big volumes, and we need a lot of compute to deal with this data, and partners like Huawei helps us a lot in staying efficient, quickly expand when it's needed, and what is mostly important, having facilities in different geographical zones gives us ability to deploy instances in a particular regulation environment that our clients need. Because some big funds, for instance, they require, they're not ready to use our public SaaS. They want some instances to be deployed in their private cloud. And a stack which Huawei has, it really helps us to put the part of our solution directly into infrastructure of our customers to give them ability to ingest the private data which they have, and not only use the public data which we get outside of the company. So that really facilitates the development and helps us to remain very competitive.
Thank you. Horst, I'm going to jump across to you, Anna. I'll come back to you after that. But I'm interested to get the European perspective. Obviously, you work with lots of SMEs. You were very clear earlier, and it was a very good point that we're not asking the right questions, and to say that 50% don't have websites, perhaps they don't need a website, and so on. Given that, when we are asking the right questions, can you share any stories about how you've helped or how you see SMEs using digital tools to accelerate quickly?
This is a very good question. I have to say the majority, 98% of SMEs are users of digitalization. Okay. So then we have 2%, there is 1.8% are mixed, and we have 0.2% are developers, innovators. And of course, it is so diverse from the sectors we have here, the hairdresser, the butcher, to the high-tech champion, hidden leader in the world. So bring them all under one roof. And this means we have really to see customized where are the needs, where are the problems, and where are the chances. We have not always to speak about problems, also about chances. Because we're thinking that some, like the website, not everybody needs a website. But I'm very convinced everybody needs artificial intelligence in the future, in every way. So we have to see how we bring them in dialogue, and also to see what for experience they can have exchange, where are the barriers and where are the problems. Often, I have to say, it is the time to implement this. It is missing the time. They are in the daily business. We saw this in COVID, how many less financial reserves they have, 4 or 5 months. Then, how you can invest in technology in the same time if you're buying it in daily business. And on the top, we put in bureaucracy, and they're afraid to make mistakes. Data protection. I have to say, we have a case. There is a letter out with an invoice, and this will change. In the future, this is not possible anymore. And this email was catched. They went to the police and says, yeah, we have this problem. The first thing what they said, inform your clients, otherwise you can be punished. So this is always the uncertainty they have. We have to encourage them. And I have to say, of course, this is not easy said, but what is the big difference to other countries? Perhaps we are more critical. This can be good and negative. This is clear. But we have not these leaders, these tech leaders here in Europe. The last really big tech company was coming 1972 from SAP. And I have to say, if you speak about SMEs, we have always to speak about ecosystems. And there are leaders, and there are the big companies, the leaders, who pull us, who give us also the programs, who teach, train, where are the cooperation partners. It's the totally wrong discussion to say they are the SMEs and this is this, we are all sitting in silos. No, this is not the case. If we don't overcome this, then Europe will fall behind, because we don't have not only the wrong questions in Europe, we have also the wrong discussions.
Thank you. Anna, I'm coming to you for a global perspective. UNIDO's been a champion in pioneering digital inclusion and technology innovation. You've worked in Europe and globally. What kind of suggestions do you have for us, for our viewers, people here? What can you share with us in terms of how we empower innovation across all industries? An easy question, given the challenges that we've talked about.
Well, thank you very much for the question. That's excellent. I think inclusion is not a buzzword. It's also a power that we can have, because innovation is also about different perspectives put together. Is sometimes not even about inventing, it's about looking at something that already exists, that gives great results in a completely different context. So I am all for making sure that, that you have diversity at all levels, because diversity fuels innovation. That's one. Number two, about, of course, skills. I think that there is a role for the governments to play, and there is a role for the private sector to play, to bring skills to the people who need to use the tools, people that want to develop the tools. And of course, there needs to be innovation ecosystems through which SMEs are the motor of innovation, are the biggest motor of innovation. A startup is always an SME. Nobody's born big. Nobody's born big. And they need access to finance, they need access to partnerships, they need access to skills. With the right ecosystem, you can unlock these potentials. So those are universal lessons that apply very well for Europe as well. And just a last one about regulation, because of course there's a lot of private sector here that loves to hate regulation. So I think there needs to be a balance here. And what I like to say about regulation is the same way that I talk about cybersecurity, as low as possible, but as high as necessary. And a lot of these regulations that are terrifying us, private sector, they are rooted on fundamental rights. So remember that you're also human, and remember that, for example, GDPR is rooted on one element, that personal data does not belong to tech, does not belong to the government. It belongs to the people, and you're also people. So once you have that essence in mind, the regulation starts making more sense. Oh, yes, it's heavy. Yeah, it's terrible. It's very heavy. But and it's the same for the EU AI Act. I have a lot to complain about the EU AI Act. Oof, I could be here for the rest of the day on how the third party audit hurts open source, on how we could go here all day. But it's about protecting fundamental rights. That's the kernel, and that kernel you cannot disagree with.
Thank you. I saw a lot of nodding along the panel to much of that. Gaurav, I wondered if you wanted to come back. I think particularly because both of you, Horst and Anna, were talking about this ecosystem. They're not alone SMEs, and they're all SMEs, right, when they start. How is both of you really, but how has an ecosystem benefited you? Or how could it be better?
Thank you, Naomi. And really great points. And listening to Horst and to Anna, really, I see it's really the solution that needs to emerge from a combination. It need not be this versus that. It could not be regulations versus innovation. These needs to go together, and that is where we see what helped us definitely the open innovation model, and of course in open source. Almost all of our tech was built on open source and still is. And going further, if we see this ecosystem, how I wish, or what I wish for is really, if we have an ecosystem, an open data ecosystem, where the control of the data is very much with those who own the data, whether it's an individual or an organization, the control should be with you. But at the same time, so you have this right, but I believe you have a duty as well, that you should be ready to license this data out for innovation. Because if we look again at healthcare, if this patient data reaches pharma, it can accelerate drug discovery like anything. We could have thousands of drugs coming into the market instead of those few, less than 100 today. And that is where we see this kind of an ecosystem, thanks to AI, now is possible, wherein people or organizations later on may not even need access to the data. They will need access to the model, wherein your data at no point of a time is going anywhere, right? And at the same time, even if you are licensing the data, you know who is using it, for what period of time, and if there is any incentives for it. So everything is very transparent, and that is where we see that we are headed probably.
Okay, it's a big topic, and I don't know if you want to quickly respond. Otherwise, we're going to move on. Our panel is flying past. Did you want to say a quick word to that? We'll move on. We'll move on. So we don't have much time on our panel left. So much to talk about. I'd like to ask you all, as we've talked about the challenges, what we want to see changing, what are the solutions. If I were to give you all a crystal ball and to say what would be the state of the digital transformation in Europe in 5 years, 10 years, will innovation be flourishing? What can you tell me? Horst, we'll do it this way. We'll go from Horst and back along.
Yeah, it is not so easy to say. I think we have a great potential. We have really fantastic entrepreneurs and innovation in Europe. But then, if it's come then to market implementation, there starts the problems. And then to scale up, the problem starting. We have not a complete single market. We have really still a diverse regulation. Still, if we try to unify this. In the end, it's about risk capital. In the end, our champions are going to United States or to other countries, to Israel, because it's easier, less regulation. Why I should fight for money here if there is everything there already and easier? I think we have the same investment like United States, if it is because I know the datas, from public money to support research and everything. It's the same. But they have 5 to 6 times more risk capital. And I have to say, I'm coming from Brussels, it is so related also with our financial market, how it's regulated, that we have no risk capital here. If we don't change it, then we will become a nice tourist place for the world. But I'm quite more optimistic. Europeans learn fast if they have to.
Okay, optimism, that's what we like. We like some optimism. Thank you. Anna, are you as optimistic?
Well, I have to be an optimistic. I have children. And I work in tech, so we tend to be optimistic. But at the same time, we monitor the mega trends, right? The fourth industrial revolution, the demographic shift, the geopolitical tensions, reconfiguring supply chains. So what I would like to, and of course climate change, and then and associated to that the energy transition. So, and the fact that change is we used to say that change is constant, but it's not. It's accelerating. It's accelerating. The technology cycles are getting shorter and shorter. The entrance, all the cycles are getting shorter. But if I want to say something specific about how I see the world, I'll have to say something a bit dark. That climate adaptation will be one of the biggest industries, because climate change is no longer a conjecture. It's already here looking at us. So, and yeah, if you are from Spain, you also saw it, right? So, and that's, so climate mitigation, climate adaptation, energy transition, we reached lots of tipping points that have great news in energy transition, and yet we didn't get there. We didn't get there. So, climate adaptation and start being serious about net zero industries. We can no longer afford less, a little less, marginally less. It's zero. It's a humongous task for all of us. So we will require more and more partnerships.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're all in this together, aren't we? So thank you. Xiaoming, last word from you.
Yes. So from my opinion, so the digitalization and AI still be the future. And how to use the data reasonably is also the big question. So what we can do is, in the future, we still will provide a stable and reliable infrastructure. You know, Huawei global cloud infrastructure consists of 93 availability zones in 33 regions. So we have been continuously investing in the technology innovation. And also, we are the only founding member of CNCF from Asia. So in the future, we will still invest in technology and help our partners, startups, SME to have a good infrastructure. And secondly, for the digital talents cultivation, we will still continue to do it. So now we have already developed over 6 million developers all over the world. And in Europe, we cooperate with a lot of universities and organizations to do the cloud training and competition. So also in the future, we still do it and cooperate with more and more universities. And thirdly, Huawei Cloud Star Program will still invest in Europe. We will provide more resources, more training courses, and more cloud credits, and more technology and the technical support to help our startups to grow their revenue fast and steadily. Yes.
Thank you. Gaurav.
Since you said crystal ball. Yeah,
we're not going to hold you to this. It's just.
But I'll rely on the giants. So Andrew Ng, father of modern AI, he said AI is going to be like electricity. So if data was the new oil, AI is the new electricity. And it's going to be ubiquitous. And that is where I see the mega trend now is that we are entering into a phase of hypercompute, where if we look at the history of compute, mainframes and then PCs and smartphones, and now we are looking at a phase wherein we are going to have such phenomenal compute capacity available that a lot of things which were impossible are going to happen. So in the next 5 years, I think the entire wish list wherein people thought this is impossible is going to be achieved. Or a 10-year time frame, I see more where it's moving more towards where the way we think about data and AI today, it will be the more ubiquitous thing will be, everything will be a model. Every company on earth is going to be a data company, and how it is going to work that for every thing, for every skill or every knowledge, it will be contained in models, wherein this will be an ecosystem where you will be able to literally license your skill as a model, and you will be able to make money out of it. And I'm not talking about just large organizations, even as an individual. What makes you special? What is the skill that you have? You will be able to license. For example, you, Naomi, maybe there could be a model of you, an AI model, which tomorrow you license to other channels, and it hosts on your behalf.
It's quite a lot to take in, all of this change. Not all of us are ready for it. Thank you. Alexander, your vision.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to say what will be the future. So those who will definitely know it will be like very rich men, for sure. So the pace of innovation is like definitely speeding up, but I think that we have always intention, feeling that we a bit overestimate what will be the change. So that happened several times in the past. So definitely what I see will be significant increase in efficiency, how we do basic things, which we do every day, starting from personal things to go into business. And computing power and electricity and AI will play here a significant role, and the data as well. So here there will be the biggest question: how quickly this massive adoption of tools which make our life easier will do. So we've seen how quickly ChatGPT came into our life. And I believe there will be much more similar cases in the future. So, and like in 3-5 years, there will be companies which are as Gaurav said correctly, is all data companies, because there will be models and AI which communicate with another AI on side of tax authorities, your partners, etc., and just making things done. And the human being will be a kind of orchestrator and a controlling person, making the direction, also having some insights out of metrics. So yeah, this is a kind of bright future, nice future, which I hope for. But depending on how we all will I would say manage the innovation pace and development, it can go left or right. So and hope that we will be smart enough to take proper decision and make technologies work for good but not for bad.
Thank you so much. I think one thing we're all agreed on is the speed of change is incredible, and it's only going to get faster. So thank you. We are at time. Thank you so much, all of you, for your insight, for your expertise. We need this. We need these conversations and to be hearing from each other. So thank you. Please join me in thanking our panelists for being here with us.
Thank you.
Stay there. Stay. Thank you. And it just leaves me to thank all of you watching online for being here too. We've heard about the challenges, the solutions, some thoughts on the future. And I hope that you've enjoyed this Euronews debate in partnership with Huawei as much as we have. Bye-bye. We'll just sit here for a minute. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And they'll tell us in a moment. So we're just going to sit here for a second.